Before we move in, a quick ask to everyone watching: subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and drop your take in the comments. Do you think pro leagues should keep paying players under investigation while cases are unresolved? Where do you stand on pay equity between the NBA and WNBA? Your perspective helps shape a smarter conversation, so don't be shy. Like and share this video to keep the debate going. Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham made waves this week, and it wasn't because of a game-winning three. It was because of 9 words she posted after reading a report about Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier's contract status amid a federal investigation into alleged illegal sports betting. No way! Please tell me this is fake. The reaction was instant. Her post traveled fast, and within hours it had kicked open a wider discussion about guaranteed contracts, league policies, and the wage gap between men's and women's professional basketball. Cunningham's rise in Indiana has been steady and visible. After 6 seasons with the Phoenix Mercury, she brought her 3-and-D identity to the Fever, spacing the floor on offense and taking tough matchups on defense. In 2025, before a torn MCL sidelined her in August, she averaged 8.6 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 1.2 assists across 30 games. Coaches praised her edge, teammates praised her voice, and fans noticed how often she drew the toughest defensive assignments, whether that meant matching up with elite guards in previous seasons or going toe-to-toe in practice with stars like Caitlin Clark. That edge extends to what she says off the court. Cunningham does not shy away from speaking plainly on player welfare, compensation, and the realities of life in the WNBA. What set off the latest conversation was a report from Front Office Sports stating that Rozier's contract, roughly $26 million this season, would remain intact while he's on administrative leave during an FBI investigation that also reportedly involves figures such as Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups. The allegations include illegal sports betting, wire fraud, and money laundering. As with all such cases, they remain allegations unless and until proven in court, and Rozier has not been convicted. Still, the number $26 million landed like a thunderclap in the WNBA community, where many players make low 6 figures and carry heavy workloads between league play and overseas commitments. For Cunningham, the shock was personal and political at once. Personal, because every athlete understands what it means to have your reputation linked to headlines you can't control. Political, because the gap in pay between the NBA and the WNBA remains enormous, and moments like this draw that contrast with a highlighter. The math is hard to ignore. Her reported salary sits around $100,000 per season. Rozier's reported salary is roughly 260 times that. Those two numbers do not exist in the same universe. And that's exactly why her post resonated far beyond a single team or fan base. To understand why this story caught fire, it helps to zoom out. The NBA operates with massive media rights deals, global sponsorships, and an economy of scale built over decades. Contracts are largely guaranteed, and the collective bargaining agreement provides a detailed process for administrative leave and player discipline when legal issues arise. The WNBA, by contrast, is still expanding its media footprint, its team valuations, and its sponsor base. Salaries have grown under the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement, and off-court marketing deals have improved top-end earning potential, but league average compensation still sits far below NBA levels. That doesn't mean one league deserves more or less. It means the two ecosystems remain structurally different, and that difference shows up dramatically in moments like this. Cunningham's comment gave those differences a face and a voice. Some fans snapped back, arguing she should focus on her league. Others applauded her for articulating what many WNBA players feel, that the value they deliver, on the court, in community engagement, in driving attendance and viewership, deserves to be reflected more fully in their paychecks. Her point wasn't that Rozier should or shouldn't be paid while on leave. It was that such a number, in the context of an ongoing investigation, collided jarringly with what WNBA athletes see when they open their own contracts. This wasn't Cunningham's first foray into the broader conversation about equity. Indiana brought her in for toughness and leadership, as much as for spacing and defense. She embraced a role that required guarding wings and ball handlers, scoring within the flow, and voicing the kind of hard truths that good teams sometimes need. That credibility matters when she speaks about fairness. She's living the WNBA grind. She is not theorizing. As for Rozier, his basketball resume stretches across 10 seasons, with averages of 13.9 points, 4.7 assists, and 4.3 rebounds over 665 games. He's the kind of guard coaches can trust to create shots, absorb minutes, and lead. That track record is part of why his contract is as large as it is. It's also part of why the news that he would continue to be paid while on leave drew interest. A major salary attached to a high-profile investigation, set against a sports culture wrestling with how to handle athletes under legal scrutiny. There's a legal and labor side to all of this. In the NBA, contracts are negotiated under a collective bargaining agreement that balances guaranteed money with disciplinary and investigatory provisions. Administrative leave is not a conclusion. It's a holding pattern, often used to protect the process while safeguarding the player's rights. The presumption of innocence remains a bedrock principle, even if public opinion moves faster than due process. The WNBA has its own rules, and its own CBA, negotiated to reflect the realities and needs of its players. But when a highly paid NBA player's case is plastered across social feeds, the comparisons are inevitable. The conversation spilled across platforms within hours of Cunningham's post. Some voices said it was unfair to compare two different leagues with different revenue structures. Others insisted that fairness isn't only about revenue, it's about recognizing the visibility and impact of WNBA athletes and ensuring league policies evolve with that reality. Both sides can be true. The WNBA's growth curve is steep, and the momentum behind women's sports in the last 5 years has been undeniable. Attendance records are falling, television ratings are climbing, brands are aligning with WNBA stars at a pace that would have been hard to imagine a decade ago. Yet the compensation picture still lags. Here's where Cunningham's comment struck a nerve. She didn't call for specific penalties. She didn't speculate about the investigation. She reacted to a report about guaranteed money. It was a human response, shock. And in that shock, a lot of fans heard frustration that extends far beyond one Instagram story. It's the frustration of an athlete who defends, competes, and contributes at the highest level of her league while watching the economics of another league operate in a different stratosphere. This isn't just about salary numbers either, and it's about the broader ecosystem, media coverage, sponsorship share, marketing investment, and how leagues approach risk, discipline, and player rights. In the NBA, a player under investigation may be placed on paid leave until facts are established. The rationale is simple: don't punish preemptively. In the WNBA, similar logic can apply, but the stakes look different because the checks are different. When the numbers are small, every dollar feels magnified. When they're large, every headline feels magnified. Both leagues are trying to balance fairness to the player with accountability to the public. Cunningham's own 2025 season narrative offers useful context. Averaging 8.6 points with reliable spacing and perimeter defense, she carved out exactly the kind of role WNBA contenders value. Her August MCL tear forced a reset, but not a retreat. Around the Fever, the message was consistent: rehab first, return when ready. Indiana is building something with star power and depth, and her voice, tough, clear, insistent, fits that build. That's part of why her reaction resonated. It came from someone fully embedded in the present tense reality of the WNBA. From a policy lens, the Rozier conversation raised practical questions. Should guaranteed money be withheld automatically when a player is under federal investigation, or only after charges, convictions, or league findings? What's the threshold for administrative leave versus suspension? How should leagues communicate with the public during fluid, legal situations when accuracy and fairness matter, but speculation is rampant. There are no easy answers, but there are clear stakes. Contracts are promises. Investigations are processes. Fans want both fairness and accountability. Sponsors want clarity. Teams want competitive stability. And players, across all leagues, want their rights protected while their reputations are at risk. There's also a cultural dimension to the viral reaction. The pay gap between men's and women's sports has long been debated, with facts that are sometimes cherry-picked to score points. The reality is complicated. Revenue matters. So does investment. The WNBA's media deal structure, game inventory, and market history differ dramatically from the NBA's, but the WNBA's trajectory suggests a future where the gap narrows through expanded media rights, larger arenas, corporate partnerships that see women's sports as growth markets, and international distribution that treats WNBA stars as the global icons they are. Cunningham's post didn't cause that trajectory. It reminded everyone what's at stake while it unfolds. If you've followed Cunningham since her Phoenix days, none of this will surprise you. She built her reputation as a competitor who takes the hardest path without flinching. In Indiana, that identity sharpened. Guarding all WNBA scores in live action or pushing against elite guards in practice, she does the work. Her willingness to speak when a story doesn't sit right is an extension of that same competitive wiring. Love it or hate it, it's honest. The online pushback, as always, came with edge. Some comments questioned why a WNBA player would weigh in on an NBA matter. Others said that's exactly the point. The basketball world is interconnected, and a headline about the Miami Heat can have ripples in Indianapolis. The lesson here isn't about whether Cunningham should have posted. It's that the post crystallized a conversation that was already simmering about pay equity in women's basketball, about how leagues handle allegations, and about the optics of guaranteed money in a scandal-adjacent moment. Meanwhile, the legal story will take its own course. The investigation involving Rozier and other figures remains in progress. Allegations are not verdicts. Administrative leave is not a suspension. League offices on both sides will work through their procedures, and when there are facts to report, they will be reported. In the space between headline and resolution, public opinion tends to rush in. That's natural. It's also why players like Cunningham, who live at the intersection of performance, public perception, and policy, end up becoming key voices, whether they intend to or not. There's a larger takeaway for anyone who loves this sport. If you care about the WNBA, ask how your viewership, your ticket purchases, and your social media attention can help accelerate the league's growth. If you care about fairness, ask what tools leagues should use to balance due process with public accountability. If you care about athletes, ask how we can protect their rights and their livelihoods without trivializing serious allegations. Those are the questions that matter more than any single post or single contract. For Sophie Cunningham and the Indiana Fever, the focus soon returns to basketball. Rehab timelines, roster fits, and the next phase of development will dominate the local conversation. But her 9 words will linger longer than a typical hot take because they reached past one case and touched a nerve that runs through the modern sports economy. On one side, massive guaranteed contracts in the NBA. On the other, a WNBA that's growing fast but still fighting for parity in pay, coverage, and respect. Between them, fans who care deeply about both leagues and want to see the whole sport flourish. We'll keep tracking verified updates on the investigation, Miami's roster decisions, and how the Fever shape their rotation while Cunningham recovers. We'll also keep the spotlight on the broader issues at play: WNBA salaries and sponsorships, collective bargaining realities, and the policies that govern administrative leave across professional sports. If you're here for the big picture, not just the headline, stick with us. Now it's your turn. Should guaranteed NBA contracts be paused during federal investigations, or is paid leave the fairest way to protect due process? Does Cunningham's reaction help push the pay equity conversation forward, or does it risk oversimplifying complex economics? Tell us what you think below. If you found this breakdown useful, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We've got more on the Indiana Fever, Sophie Cunningham's recovery, the Miami Heat situation with Terry Rozier, and the evolving landscape of the WNBA and NBA. Thanks for watching, and keep the discussion going.